Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to install a new hard drive in your desktop PC. I'm going to take it from the top because not everyone is familiar with computer hardware. The drive I'll be installing today is this drive. It's a 2TB Seagate SATA drive. Before I go anywhere though, I would just like to make a quick comment, or comparison rather. This is a 80GB IDE drive, and this was from the year 2002. When you look at the back of this drive, you'll see we have a big multi-pin connector, if my camera focuses, there, and a 4-pin Molex connector there. Now these drives are outdated now, and if you have a computer with an IDE drive in that you're looking to upgrade, it's just as easy to build a new system and go for an SATA drive. The benefits speed-wise will be insane, and capacity-wise, this is where it is now. Okay, SATA is master. IDE is dead. However, IDE cables, like so, are everywhere because no one uses them anymore. Easiest way to detect if you have a system that is using IDE drives is you'll see this big ribbon cable. Best thing you can do, take it out, throw it in the bin. Okay. The SATA drive we have, however, is nice and shiny, just out the bag. 2TB capacity, so that's 2000GB. It's a 3.5-inch drive. Now, that does not mean it's 3.5-inch physical size. That means that the platter inside here, the discs inside here, are 3.5-inch diameter, so they're that big. Yeah. What we are going to use is an SATA data cable, which looks like this. Now, this is instead of that big ribbon cable that we saw before. Oh, focus. You'll see the shape of the SATA lead. The connector is an L shape. Means that it can only go on in one direction. On this end of the lead we have a 90-degree connector, which can be very handy when it comes to putting it on our motherboard. The first stage in installing a new hard drive is to get your computer. Disconnect it from your monitor, from your keyboard, your mouse, take the power supply out. The power lead out the power supply, rather. And then you want to put your computer somewhere where you've got a bit of space, you've got a nice clean area, and it's well lit. So in this case, I'm going to use my desk here. Zoom out a little bit, because I have a ridiculously large computer. Now, before I place my computer down, I would just like to point out, this mat here is a craft mat. I'm using this underneath my computer to cushion the blow, because I don't want to scratch the case. If you're not too worried about scratching your case, just put it on the table. But if you are, place a mat down, a towel maybe, or some soft pad. I'll lay your computer down. And it's the right hand face, so when you're facing the front, that's the front. The right hand face is on the floor, or on the table. Okay, is that in shot? Just about. Zoom out anymore? There we go. Okay. Now, at this stage, the first thing we want to do is we want to take our side panel off. This entire big side panel here. Now, it's dead easy. Luckily, most computer manufacturers these days tend to follow a fairly standard configuration, and most side panels can be removed by removing 2 thumb screws. You see them here, little guys? Just unwind them. A thumb screw, put it somewhere safe. On the top as well. Again, put it somewhere safe. Side panel slides back and up. And that is pretty standard. You want to take this side panel and you want to place it somewhere safe. It's not going to fall over. Okay, so at this stage, you can see pretty much all of our PC internals. We can see our CPU, heatsink and cooler here. You can see our RAM, graphics card, power supply down the bottom. The power supply on your computer may be at the top up here, and this entire section may have moved down. That's fine. You will most likely have drive bays here, so a piece of steel here, and your drives will mount that way. That's also fine. In this instance, my drives mount down the bottom, and I've taken this section out because I don't have that many drives in this PC. But before we do fit the drive, 3 things we want to look for. We need a space to put our drive, we need power, and we need data. Okay, so first thing was the space. Now space, I've got a middle drive here, drive bay. Now I can remove these sections, which makes fitting my drives really easy. That's what I get for buying a very expensive case. If you have a generic, typical tower computer, that's fine. It just means that you have to put your hard drive into this drive bay, which is also fine. That's perfect. Drive goes into there, and then we fix it on the side. In this instance, my drives mount from the bottom. So my shiny hard drive will mount in like so. I'll spin it over, put some screws in the bottom when I'm ready, and then that'll go back into that drive bay. So that's our space. That was the first thing that we needed. The second thing that we need is power. Now if I zoom in a little bit, you'll see we have a few power connectors in here. That is a big motherboard power connector, don't touch that. This is an SATA power connector. You see again how it's a L-slotted connector. It means it can only go in one way, and it's very hard to get wrong, if not impossible. This is an 8-pin Molex connector. That's nothing to do with us right now. That's the sort of thing that you would use on a high-end graphics card. Over there we have a 4-pin connector for the likes of a floppy drive. Does anyone have one anymore? And that is a 4-pin Molex connector. That was the sort of connector that we would use for our IDE drives, our old style. Now at this stage, if you don't have an SATA power connector like this, but you do have a Molex connector like this, what you can use is you can use an adapter. They're quite common. In this instance, a little single connector, and it's a 4-pin Molex, like we just seen, to an SATA power connector. You need one of these if you don't have one natively on your power supply, but we do, so we're okay. This would fit real easily, just push together, like so, squeeze, wiggle, done, okay? But in this instance, I don't need that, I'm going to throw that away. Okay, so there's our power. We know we have power. The third item was data. Now if I just shimmy that way, you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3. These are data ports. You can't quite see because it's side on there, but if I tilt up the PC a little bit, you see these are side mounting SATA connectors. See, on the edge here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've already got 2 items in these bottom bays. We've got 4 empty SATA connectors, data connectors, and they are what we are going to need. So if I zoom out, I'm going to take my empty drive, and you'll notice this drive bay has rubber mounts. Now this is to remove any vibration from the drive that the drive may cause. Because it's a soundproof case, this is a way of eliminating vibration. Because the drive will be in here and vibrate very slightly. Nothing that you could feel. At least I'd hope you couldn't feel it. If you could feel it, it would be very broken. But it just stops the drive from oscillating, shaking the drive bay, causing the PC to make noise. So my drive, I'm going to sit on here, and you'll see my drive has 4 tapped holes. There's one there, one there, one there, and one there. I'm going to place this drive bay over the top, line it up with those holes, and then we're going to use special mounting screws for these rubber connectors. Offer in, screw them in, and we're good to go. Other screwdrivers are available. if you don't want to use your fingers. Now, a quick note, whilst I'm doing this, one thing people will warn you against whilst working on anything computer related or electronics related at all is something called ESD. ESD, electrostatic discharge. What electrostatic discharge is it's the potential for your body to damage electronics that you're dealing with. In the instance that your body carries a static charge, you know, like when you rub a balloon on your hair and it sticks up, or when you shuffle your feet on a carpet and then you touch your door handle and you get a little shock. Same thing. A lot of these electronics are so delicate that that tiny charge, that little shock, that is electricity, that can hurt them, that can damage them. So what you need to do is you need to remove that charge before it has the potential to cause damage. Now, that drive is mounted, nice and steady, not going anywhere. I'm going to place that back into my case, okay? With the connectors at the back. This pops back in, done, okay. On the subject of ESD still, what you can get is you can get devices like this. Now in this instance, it's a wristband. Goes around your wrist, makes you look super cool. Cable, and a crocodile clip. Now what you can do, clip this to somewhere that is grounded on your system. So in this case, somewhere near the power supply. Keep in mind that a painted surface or powder coated surface won't necessarily allow you to transmit the charge. It should do really, but so I've clipped onto the case. So any charge I've got in my body is already discharged through the case. You can go a little bit more extreme though. If you are worried that, say, the charge is passing to the case but not going anywhere else and could still damage the system, you could use something like this, which is an ESD plug with an extra lead on it. Now, if I take the crocodile clip off here, if I can get it off, there we go. Put that on there. I can connect the plug to the case. So I'll do that, okay. So now I can connect the plug to me. Like so, okay. So I'm earthed to the plug and the plug is earthed to the case. Oh, careful. Nice and gently. Don't panic. The live terminals of plug are non-existent. It is just the ground. So that is a place for you to discharge any static you may be carrying. That is also the reason why PC components come in electrostatic bags. In shiny bags. Like this, the bag that my hard drive came in today. You see how shiny it is, silvery. These are discharge bags. These will stop any static being carried by the component, or stop the component being subject to any charge in travel. Okay. The next stage, in my case, is I need to turn my computer over to access the back panel. So I'll do that now. I'll just gently lift it up. Place down on the opposing face. Nice and gentle like. Take the thumb screws out the back again. Again, just 2 thumb screws. And take this panel off, slide back, lift up. Done. This is generally the messier side of the case because it's where you hide all your cables. We can see here, this is the back of our drive. In the middle here, this is our drive. And there's our power connector and our SATA data connector. So the power that we found earlier, that SATA drive, I'm going to line it up with the L shape here and I'm going to fit that. That will just push straight on and click into place. Push. Done. Easy. Easy peasy. Okay. Let's push. Make sure it clicks into position. It won't make an audible click, but you'll feel it bump over. And then cable wants to run somewhere out the way, nice and secure, where you'll be able to close the case still. Okay. You'll also notice that here on this case, if I move these cables out the way, there's a big rubber grommet. So I can poke cables through here. This is where my data cable is going to go. Now, my data cable has a straight end and a 90-degree turned end. The 90-degree connector I'm going to place onto the motherboard, so that's going to go through the rubber housing. And the straight connector is what I'm going to use on the hard drive. So all I need to do is place that onto the hard drive, the same way that I did with the power connector. Nice little audible pop. Cool. Done. That's all there is to the hard drive. Feed that back through. I'm going to tidy these cables up a little bit while I'm here. Just make sure they're out of sight. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Because everyone knows that having a neat PC makes you cool. Okay, so in this instance, I can put the side panel straight back on here because all my connectors are in place. Just need to be super careful not to trap any cables. I think we're okay there. Push it on the case side, squeeze it forward. Done. All the white markers. Now that we've reached this stage, we need to put our 2 thumb screws back in this side. Our thumb screw in the bottom. We turn our computer back around and place it back on the original face. We will see we now have our data connector popping through here. Now I'm going to feed this back out until it's the right sort of length. And the 90-degree connector, I'm going to make sure that the cable can spin without being under too much stress. Oh, focus. There we go. And I'm going to insert this connector alongside the previous SATA connector. And then I'm just going to push that home. Put a finger on the back of the connector just to keep it secure. It's okay. It's all nice and secure. Make sure that cable is not forcing the plug anyway. Okay. Okay. And that is really irritating. I really want that to sit flat. I see why it doesn't, because the other cable's there. Okay, that's much better. All the connectors nice and secure. Come back out. And that's it. That's the physical install of your new hard drive. Whilst we're here, I'd also like to show you this. This is a solid state drive. Now, you're not going to be able to see too much if I move the PC up. You see here? This small black drive. It's very thin. It's only a 2.5 inch drive. Solid state drive, it's 128 gig, but it acts like a USB drive almost. It's very fast, There's no moving parts. They're more expensive, but they're that much faster that you can turn your PC on and within about 10 seconds you'll be on your desktop and you'll be ready to go. An SSD is a massive improvement for any system that doesn't already have one. Put Windows on it, put any of your frequently used programs on it, and put all the rest of your data on your big drives. Because these are good for storage, but these are good for loading times. Okay? Now, the only thing left to do is to put the side panel back on. Again, we're going to set that on, slide it forward, and then put our thumb screws back in. And that's how easy it is to install an SATA hard drive. So now you can go and put all your photos and films on there. Whatever other documents you may be hiding. Giggity. Thanks for stopping by, guys, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.